So welcome. We are going to start our practice today standing. So if you're already on the mat, just make your way up through, squat using both sides of your body, using both legs, just avoiding that lunge to rise, okay? And then also, as always, make sure you have that blanket and or rolled up towel as a prop nearby to help bring it in if we need to help fill space. Okay, so anywhere on your mat, you're just gonna come on to a nice tall mountain stance. And so don't worry too much about where your feet are. I remember when I was pregnant, I really like to plie my feet out. That felt better, especially in those later stages. So if you want to just get comfortable in your foundation. And then essentially here we want to think about stacking. So stack the ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, and hips over the heels. And then just imagine a string pulling you up from the crown of your head, standing up really tall. Ideally, your chin here is parallel to the floor, and this just helps to give you that nice length through the spine. Okay, and then you can bring your palms by your sides and helping to open up the chest, but make sure you don't have skylights, make sure you have headlights, meaning you are facing forward here, not lifting up to the sky, okay? Especially if you're in that third trimester where belly is more bountiful, we don't want to be hinging up. And then gently close your eyes. And so just feeling that breath enter in through your nose, all the way down to the depths of your belly, nourishing your organs, your muscles, your bones and joints, nourishing baby, of course. And just find a nice, smooth, easy exhale. Just keep that nice, easy rhythm going. Try to make sure each cycle is completed. And you feel your chest rise with the belly as you really expand and get that maximum inhale. You feel the belly recede with the exhale, squeezing every ounce of air from your lungs. Feeling that peace starting to wash over you, feeling that sense of calm. Now I want you to imagine yourself in a challenge. It could be challenges ahead that lie ahead of you, or it could be a challenge that you've already overcome. And I want you to just kind of put yourself in your mind's eye right in the middle of that challenge. Mental challenge, physical challenge, emotional challenge, whatever it is. Really see yourself there, really experience with all of your senses what it feels like to be in that challenge, the intensity of it, maybe the pain or the anguish or the suffering within it. Take your attention back to your breath. Is it still easy and smooth? Or have you kind of held on to a little bit of tension, held on to a little bit of gripping in the breath, in the body perhaps even? You can do a quick scan and just let those shoulders melt. Let the tension between the eyebrows be soft in the jaw, wherever your trigger points are. So you're still there, you're still within that challenging place. Your mind's eye. Bring your breath back into it now. And if you're feeling like that isn't quite enough, you're still getting that sense of fight or flight returning to you, cortisol levels are going up, stress is going up in this challenging situation, then practice out breaths. So essentially it's a big inhale through your nose and a big long sigh out of your mouth, really forcing the air out of your system. Now let's do this in repetition. Big inhale. Keep going. Continue to stay in that challenge. Maybe that challenge was a marathon where you're physically exerting yourself. Maybe that challenge was an emotional one where you're having conflict with a loved one. Keep breathing these deep, nourishing out breaths. Maybe that challenge is a broken bone. That causes a lot of pain. And know that with your breath, you can get through. You can manage yourself to get to the other side of that challenge, because there's always an end to a challenge. It's not forever. Keep going. Beautiful deep cycles, out breaths. Or if you prefer the waterfall, the moan, or the horse lips, go right ahead. Last one. Good. And then just steady your breath there. Returning back to that easy, calm, peaceful state, ebb and flow in and out. Bringing yourself right here into this present moment, right here where we are on our mat, not faced with any large challenge in particular. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And let's start moving into the shoulders, rolling them back. And then bringing them forward. You can hear a lot of clicks in my shoulders. And bring the arms out to the sides now, palms facing to the floor and nice bright fingers. So really activate the arms all the way up to the shoulder joints. And then reach the fingers in opposite directions and then plug the shoulders into the sockets. Settle them down away from your ears. Just make sure they're not creeping up. Good. Now we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen a little bit of length through your spine. And then exhale, drop a right ear to right shoulder. You might notice a really intense sensation. And for the purpose of this class and going forward into your birth, I will refer to challenging, maybe even pain as sensation. Now you shouldn't be feeling pain in this particular class, but for birth, you will experience something that resembles pain. And I'm going to try and change that connotation of something of pain, which correlates to kind of suffering and misery and agony and, oh, I can't get through this, to something more empowering. So it is a very intense sensation, yeah. And here you might be feeling a sensation through your neck and arm. Good. Inhale, lift and lengthen back through the center. And exhale, left ear falls to left shoulder. But really, it does matter the words that you use and the words that you feed yourself now and during your birth. And so these are one of the tools that we use in our active meditations throughout the program to help you overcome challenges, especially physical challenge in your body, because birth is a physical challenge. Good. Inhale, lift, and exhale, release those arms down. Inhale, bring arms overhead, grab a hold of the right wrist and draw yourself over to the left. Now, as you do this, make sure your right heel is still rooting down nice and firm into the ground. And here you're really just kind of opening up the rib cage and attempting to keep your body open to the sky. So we're not leaning forward. It really doesn't matter how deep you come. Just lift the wrist up and you'll feel this beautiful opening through the rib cage, providing that beautiful room and space for baby. Breathe. So mantra, those words you feed yourself. If fear is your biggest hurdle as you approach your birth, fear of the pain, Yeah? Good. Come up through center. Grab a hold of opposite wrist and lean over to the right. Then think about the words that you feed yourself now, and think about words that can empower you and give you strength during your birth. So when those words of doubt, fear, anxiousness creep in, you're just going to replace them. Yeah. And that is a very helpful tool, coming back up and release, to help manage through an intense challenge like birth. Okay, come up to the top of your mat now. Take your hands to your hips. We're going to take a giant step back with the right foot. I'll show you from the side. Big step back with the right foot, really big. And then just rotate that foot so it's parallel to the back of your mat. And as you do that, belly and baby will kind of come to face the side of your mat here. Inhale, open the arms, preparing for warrior two. Bend into the front knee slightly. We don't have to come super deep here. Just a nice gentle bend so the knee is stacked over the heel. Reach your fingertips opposite directions, and then once again, plug the shoulders into the sockets. Now, really important here that you also hug the legs towards one another like you're on a sheet of ice and would do the splits if you didn't. Gently integrate the legs, and this connects to your core, which we do a lot of work for in the postnatal series. Keep breathing. And then we're going to start to flow here. And if we lose that connection of the legs, you're going to notice your balance start to kind of come into play here. And so then that is a signal for you to then reconnect to the core by hugging the bones towards one another in your foundation. So here we go. As we inhale, coming in through peaceful warrior, just reach up to the sky. Keep that front bend in your knee. And as you exhale, come forward, elbow to knee. Very slowly rainbow the arm over. Now, really important, keep the connection to your core here as you inhale nice and strong, peaceful, and then just keep flowing. Exhale forward. You can go at your own rate, don't follow me. Just keep that connection, keep that integration between your foundation of your legs. So tools to use for really intense sensations during your birth. Mantra we talked about, those words that you feed yourself. Also, the breath. And I think the breath, those powerful out breaths, are probably your most powerful tool that you can use to manage and get through to the other side, even if it's just to the other side of that one contraction, right? That one wave. Yeah, just take them one at a time. Okay, coming back up into warrior two. Hands to your hips, and then straighten the front leg. We're just going to pivot on the heel and then plie the toes out. So now you're facing the side of your mat now, and the feet are nice and wide. Just spin the toes so they're kind of tracking with the knees in the same direction here as you find a gentle squat. And again, it doesn't have to be super deep here. Just a nice gentle squat. You can see I'm arranging my feet so that the heels are stacked right underneath the knees. So just make sure they're going in the same direction, just to protect the joints. All right, bring the arms up. And imagine there's a wall behind you. So really open up the elbow so it's at the height of the shoulder. And imagine there's a wall touching the back of your elbow and the back of your shoulder blade all the way across to the other side. Yeah? Goddess pose. So let's start to flow here. You're probably already feeling that sensation in the foundation. That's on purpose. We want to work through this challenge we're feeling in the body. We really want to use our breath. Okay, so here we go. Inhale, reach up, straighten the legs. Exhale, come a little bit deeper. Goddess. Inhale, up. So what words are you feeding yourself right now? Is it kind of doubt? Wondering if you can get through this? Or can you find words that give you strength? I got this. My body was built for this. I trust my body. I trust my baby. These are helpful words. We want to think about creating those mantras and then sharing them with your birth partner. Keep breathing, because remember, our muscles, they're working hard for us right now. They need our oxygen, so really feed them. Nourishing inhales. And help relieve that tension by long out breaths. Big long out breaths through your mouth, forcing the air out. Remember, that's really going to help with any sort of pain management. Good. Okay, let's do one more. Come just a centimeter deeper. And rise up, release the arms down, hands to your hips, and we're gonna face the back of the mat now. So just arrange your feet so your right toes facing the back of the mat and your left foot is parallel to the front of the mat. Body open to the side still. Find your warrior two. We're just gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So if you can't quite see the screen, if you've shifted and it's hard to see, don't crane your neck looking, it's okay. We're gonna do the same thing and I'll try and make the cues really clear for you. Okay, so integrate those legs. Remember, hug the bones. It's the most important cue here besides breathing. And then when you feel you've got that nice, solid, strong foundation, we can start to flow. As you inhale, tilt back ever so slightly and bring your right hand to the sky. As you exhale, come forward, right elbow to right knee, and rainbow your left arm across. Keep your body facing up towards the sky here. Don't look towards the ground. Really integrate as you come back up through warrior two and into your peaceful. Just keep flowing. Please don't match up with me. You're gonna be at a different rate of breath depending on how far along you are in your pregnancy. And so that will impact your movement because I really want you to move with your breath, not with me. Good, so breathe. If that muscle is really exerted for you, if you're really feeling that fire, big out breaths, big inhales followed by big out breaths. I love waterfall breath. It's also a good way to shush if you have any other kids around. Good, let's meet back up in warrior two. Take your time getting there, there's really no rush. And then hands to your hips, straighten the front leg, pivot on your heels all the way to the front of your mat and just hop that back foot up. Give her a little shake, shake. Okay, so we are gonna really challenge that foundation today for you, which is great because we want strong foundation leading up to your birth for all the walking around and moving around that you will hopefully be doing, which is really good to help get baby in that optimal position for birth. Lots of position changes, lots of swaying and moving. But also, I want to put you up against that physical challenge slightly in your body, okay? It won't be anywhere close to what a wave or a contraction feels like, but we're going to try and use some of these tools to help feed ourselves so that we can prepare for that big day. So, chair pose. All right, so heels underneath the hips, and if it feels comfortable for you, especially if you're in the later stages of your pregnancy, take them a little wider than the hips even. But essentially they're parallel to each other like on train tracks, hands to your hips. Take a big inhale and then exhale, settle your sit bones down like you're sitting in a chair. Okay, here we go. So first check that all four corners of your feet are rooted into the ground. You're not just sitting in your heels. And then check that you can see your toes. And if you can't, just shoot your sit bones back. And then that will bring the knees back so that you can kind of see the toes here. Last cue, really challenging, and this one really connects to your core. Again, the core is that transversus abdominis muscle, the one that becomes very weakened over the pregnancy. Okay, so we want to still build that muscle. It's the only tummy muscle we want to be working out, not the six pack. And in order to connect to it, lift your heart. Like you're sitting in a real chair, lift your heart up as much as you can. Get that length through your spine without tucking your tail. We don't want to tuck the tail. We still want to blossom the bum and keep that beautiful, nice lower lumbar spine. But just lift the heart. Settle your shoulders down. Breathe. Know that there is another side to this challenge. It's almost done. Use your tools. Close your eyes, help avoid distraction around you. I got this. If you really need a powerful out breath, do the moan. Oh. You might as well just practice now because you're going to be doing it during your birth anyways. I promise you, noises will be coming out of you. And so just practicing what it feels like in your body with this challenge. Yeah, 5 more seconds. And then on your next inhale, slowly rise. Oh my goodness, shake it out. Good, okay. Last little challenge here with the foundation, we're gonna challenge our balance as well. So coming into a tree pose, I want you to root all 4 corners of your left foot into the ground and then activate like you would mountain pose all the way up to your glute. So just tone the leg. Okay, take your right knee out to the right, implant it on the inside of either the ankle or the calf. And I encourage you to stay below the knee joint here as we are doing a connection to the core exercise. And even if your practice does take you up high, that's great, so does mine. But I personally don't feel I can connect as well to my core and really feel what it feels like internally by bringing my foot up above the knee. So I keep it below to help here. Just grasp what it feels like to connect here to your transversus. So bring your hands to your pubic bone. And then feel just above the pubic bone. That's where we're connecting to. You won't feel an external movement happen here. Not like a bicep curl. It's not like a 6-pack flex. It's inside. But when you push your foot into your leg and your leg into your foot, you create this connection there. That arch of support, same as we did when we were in the Warrior 2. Hug the legs together. Ooh, see, I'm not doing it and I'm falling out. Hug the legs towards one another, hug the foot into the leg, and there we find that connection, and it's right above the pubic bone. Okay, and if you are wavering, it's because we're still trying to access it and find it. Okay, let's slowly release. It's a lot. I promise you I'll give you some nice stretches as we come down onto the mat for the foundation, okay? Right foot into the mat now. Activate all the way up, and then take the left knee out and plant it on the inside of the leg somewhere. You can keep it low too, it doesn't really matter. Just wherever you can, just push the foot into the standing leg. And that strong standing leg isn't going anywhere because it's a strong mountain leg. Yeah, standing up tall, feel that area right above your pubic bone. I say feel it because that's the area that we are connecting to internally, but you won't actually feel any change happen when you connect to your core. Can you still get that big breath through your belly? Because your 6-pack shouldn't be constricted here. Lots of this we go over in the postnatal side. Really important. Good. Okay, slowly release down. And give her a little shake. Take a stroll to the back of your mat now and just take your feet wide. Do a little genie squat, reach for the mat and come forward into your tabletop. So tabletop is essentially shoulders stacked over wrists, hips stacked over heels. I like to shift my wrists forward slightly because that gives a bit of an angle to my arm and a bit of relief from the weight of my body on my wrists, which always seem to give me trouble lately. So I'm gonna do that, root down all 10 fingers into the earth, and then we're just gonna extend the right leg long and press the toe mound down on the ground. I promised you deep stretches, here they come. Our body is warm, our breath is still strong, still within us. And so we're gonna start to feel some strong sensation in the foundation. Still using that breath. In any of these poses you feel comfortable in, close your eyes. Closing your eyes helps avoid distraction. The distraction around you, that input into the brain from sight, just block it out. And this will help during your birth as well. We're going to release that knee back down to the side and extend the left leg long. Same thing on the other side. Close your eyes. Good. And slowly lowering down. Okay, sweep the feet around. Come to sit on your bum. And bring yourself into staff pose. So staff pose essentially is just legs spread out long in front of you. Again, if you're in the 3rd trimester, belly's more bountiful, you can widen your stance. It doesn't have to be straight out. So whatever feels good for you. And if you're really struggling getting that tall seat and you're feeling like you're tilting back on your tailbone, you just can't stay up high on your sits bones here, know that it's normal because it is a very hard position to be in. You know it's the core that's giving you this position, right? And as I said, most of us have weaker cores, and especially with pregnancy, it really does weaken the core. What you want to do in that case is just grab that prop, grab that blanket, and just sit your sit bones on the front kind of quarter of it, front eighth even of it, and then roll your sit bones forward. So just kind of the fleshy part is sitting on the cushion. And this helps to roll the pelvis forward, which helps to give you that tall alignment. So it's not all core working for you, okay? But we like staff pose. It's like a mountain pose. It's like a transitionary pose to move into the next posture in. So finding your variation of it. Good. Let's bend into the left knee. And then we're gonna bend into the right knee and take it on top. So attempting to take the right ankle on top of the left knee and the right knee on top of the left ankle. I hope I said that right. It's a lot of rights and lefts. But essentially your top leg is stacked like a fire log legs, that's what it's called. And you see mine is not touching. Yours could be close, could be not close, it could be further away. Don't compare. It's like the #1 mummy rule. Don't compare yourself to others. Just really celebrate where your body is at right now. And notice, just notice. Notice where you're feeling pain. Notice where you're feeling restriction, any intense sensations. And if you are, breathe there. If you are feeling pain though, pain in this particular class is your indication that you need to move out slightly. And so if that's the case, just extend that bottom leg, okay? Keep the right foot flexed, and then here you can just find a little bit more gentle of a variation from fire log legs, which is a juicy, juicy hip opener. So I'm rocking back and forth, just kind of inviting that hip joint to open. Feels good for me. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And do a quick body scan. Whenever we do these huge hip openers, I like to do a quick body scan from the forehead, asking where you can release. And we do this a lot in our program because it is one of our 6 tools that we can use during our active meditations to help you manage and cope like a rock star through those intense parts of your birth. And so body scanning is another really helpful tool to just help the physiological self to be a little bit more at ease, tension-free. And that helps prepare you for that mental challenge of getting through that kind of more hairy or active stages of labor. Good, okay, we're gonna slowly hinge back, rounding the spine. You can extend the bottom leg, followed by the right. Give it a little shake, shake. And we'll do the opposite side. So draw the right foot in first, and then bring the left leg over. Keep both feet flexed, that's important. You don't wanna have the ankle joint doing anything funny. And settling in. This side is extremely tight for me. It could have just been the way I slept last night. Could have been if I was like limping, if I hurt one side of my body and I was kind of favoring another side. And so we're not pushing the body here to be like the other. We're not comparing, right? We're celebrating and just noticing what's going on, being compassionate with yourself. Oh, we're so hard on ourselves, especially as mothers. We have so many pressures to be perfect and give. And really in that, it really fuels us to push ourselves to these too high limits and expectations. And so really just be compassionate with yourself and where you're at, with your body and all the changes that you're undergoing. Keep breathing. Everything is a stage. You'll get through this one. Remember the difference between strain or pain and sensation and stretch. Okay, you should be feeling, a moderate amount of sensation here and stretch, but no pain, no strain. Nothing that's getting you to clench. So body scan, releasing anywhere that you can that doesn't serve this pose. Because you know what, if you're clenching your jaw through a contraction, like you see in Hollywood births, that's gonna clench your bits. So I call that your bits, your like pelvic floor and your area of your core. So the area baby is passing through, it's gonna clench it. kind of make it very challenging for baby to get through there. Well, when you're having a contraction, that's pushing baby down. So you want it open down there ideally. And guess what? Horse slips or sigh or moan, all of these out breaths help keep your jaw open. So another great reason to be doing them, practicing them. Okay, rounding the spine, tilt back ever so slowly and extend that leg. Let's give it a shake out, and then a windshield wiper. Big stance with the feet, and I'm just leaning back on my hands and just wiggle those knees back and forth. Good. Okay. So last stretch here, we're gonna come into bound angle, feet together, sit up tall, and you can use your shins, grabbing a hold there to help pull you up into this tall seat, depending on if you're on your cushion or not, and then tent your fingers behind you. Okay, so the tenting helps to achieve and maintain this tall seat, which we want to do as we start to push into the fingers and hinge forward. So as you're hinging forward, start first with, like, imagine your belly button is coming forward into the space first. And that'll help avoid the head coming in first, which will round your spine, which we do sometimes, but in this version of the pose, I would like to really access deeply into the hip joints and the glutes. So trying to keep your head in line with your spine. Try and keep one long line. I can show you from the side view here too. So I'm just tenting the fingers and then pushing forward, allowing the belly to come forward first into the space. And when I've met my edge and I'm like, that's where I'm gonna stop, I feel a lot of sensation. If I were to go any deeper, it would be pain, and so I'm not gonna do that. I stop there, and then you can just bring the hands around in front. Still achieving that heart lift, shoulders settled, still able to breathe. If you're ever in a yoga pose and you're not able to breathe, that's a sure sign you're too deep. You're pushing yourself too far, whether it's prenatal or not. And with each cycle of breath, you can kind of imagine yourself melting, kind of inviting the hip joints to open a little bit more. Being very aware that you do have relaxin running through your body while you're pregnant. Relaxin helps to open up the joints. It's a hormone released from the brain, and it's great because you need those joints to open as baby passes through for your birth. But in the second and third trimester, sometimes mamas can push themselves a little too deep in poses, thinking that they're super flexible when really it's just the relaxin. And then the tendons and the ligaments, the joints can't support that intensity. So we always say moving to like a 30 to 50% edge in prenatal, okay? Good, slowly rise up. Okay, so whichever seat you want to do for your Shavasana, I'm just going to come into Siddhasana. It's comfortable for me. You can pull in your props, you can move onto a chair or couch, you can lay down if you want to, really. It doesn't matter. Just get comfy for the next couple minutes here. And closing your eyes. Let's start with a quick body scanning, which bringing your attention to your third eye center, right in the middle of your forehead. You're just gonna ask all these little areas that you're gonna explore physically in your body, these areas that tend to cling to stress. You're just gonna ask them to let go and become soft. So you'll know as you do this scan more and more where your trigger spots are. Most people's lie somewhere in the eyebrows or around the eye sockets. The jaw is a huge one. The traps, so the shoulder scrunching, the lower back, and of course in the bits. We have very strong muscles within the walls of the vagina and the vulva on the outside, the anus, that sphincter. So we tend to just kind of always be holding them in a semi-contracted state all day. And so for this purpose, just go through all of these areas and notice if you're holding on to tension there, let it go. Finding that nice, rhythmic, calm, peaceful breath. And Finding yourself now on the other side of that challenge. I want you to take yourself now to a place of pure calm, a safe place. Visualization is another one of our very powerful tools that we use to help cope and manage through the hairy parts of your birth. Visualization, with your eyes closed, take yourself to a safe place. It could be a made-up place, or it could be somewhere that exists, somewhere you've been or somewhere you want to go. And then start to experience that place with all of your senses. Sense of sight by looking around, touch, smell. Really deeply experiencing what's around you and how it makes you feel. And know that this place exists for you anytime you want to go there. Simply close your eyes. Thank you for sharing practice with me today. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you and the little light inside of you. Namaste.